Metal Wolf Chaos is dumb and proudly wears it on its sleeve. Developed by the now critically acclaimed developer From Software, Metal Wolf Chaos provides a glimpse at the earlier days of the company before the Miyazaki era. Simply put, it's like an Armored Core spin-off with a wacky B-grade Americentric plotline and corny dialogue that quickly falls under the so bad it's good category. As a game originally released in Japan back in 2004, Metal Wolf Chaos definitely feels like a product of its time. Story-wise, Metal Wolf Chaos is absurdly American. It stars the 47th President Michael Wilson fighting his Vice President Richard Hawk for the soul of America. Over the course of the story, Wilson saves America from the mentally deranged lunatic of a Vice President using his mecha, Metal Wolf. As the game progressed, the story got more and more ridiculous, which made for a stupidly fun experience. Despite how the game appears, Metal Wolf Chaos controls pretty well. Unfortunately, it is still capped at 30 frames per second after all these years. Combat is simple and engaging. Though weapon switching looks cool, it's cumbersome as the mecha has to get into weapon changing mode before weapons can be swapped. It's very much style over substance in that regard. The game is segmented into various levels across the USA. From SF to New York, Metal Wolf Chaos provides a janky road trip through the deeply troubled nation. The levels stay fresh with new targets such as a death cannon, a giant robot spider, and many enemy bases. These targets spice up the levels in unique ways. For example, the death cannon slowly charges up. Once it's full, you lose, resulting in a much more hectic level than it would be otherwise. The prime issues with the game come in the form of level design and glitches. Levels often feel poorly designed with their objectives, making for experiences that require a few retries to get a hang of, or are just too easy. Beyond that, hunting down all the targets in a level quickly gets tiresome and irritating, especially when the developers decide to hide them. Also, the lack of checkpoints made for a more tedious experience that luckily benefits from having levels that can often be rushed past. As far as mechanics go, it's a fun mecha romp littered with annoying design decisions that ultimately hinder the experience. However, if you take the time to look past the glaring issues, you'll find an experience with a strong selection of weapons and fun, admittedly shallow gameplay. The dual-wielding Metal Wolf has 8 weapon slots, which provide the player with a strong degree of freedom. Unfortunately, the lack of weapon loadouts makes adjusting weaponry much less convenient than it would be otherwise. Presentation-wise, it definitely falls in line with the budget titles that came out during 2004. The character animations during dialogue sequences seem uncanny, or just plain robotic. The audio mixing is a huge mess that was abysmal in such a way that the gameplay would sound too quiet, while a cutscene would fill the whole room with cheesy news reporting. As this is the remastered version, you would expect at the very least that those issues would be easily ironed out, but they just didn't put in the effort to fix them. Metal Wolf Chaos is definitely a game that appeals to fans of weird kooky comedy. It's a janky budget title that lacks polish in level design and mechanics, but makes up for it in weird. The American setting is effectively used as a backdrop, but the generic nature of the politics leaves a lot to be desired. The entertaining yet repetitive gameplay occasionally got frustrating, but it was more like a battle of endurance than a battle of skill. Overall, Metal Wolf Chaos is a game worth playing for those that are looking for a unique game and are willing to put up with some nonsense along the way. Thanks for watching the review. If you enjoyed it, feel free to like the video and consider subscribing to my channel. If you want more, here are some of my other videos. The original review was written for DarkStation, and I was provided a review copy. See you all next time when I make a tier list on the Democratic candidates.